his life.
Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
And welcome to Tuesday. Here it is, the 27th day of June. We're a week away from Independence Day.
Yes, one of my favorite days of the year.
Absolutely.
Fireworks, barbecues, and the celebration of what freedom
America,
we have left.
yeah, what freedom we have left. Yeah, there you go. And also our top official selling our secrets and admitting it.
I can't even believe it.
I mean, so what are they going to say now? What were the left wing loons in the media?
It was funny, Bill.
Oh, was it?
It was just comedy. Don't you know comedy?
Oh.
Joe Biden comedy, really.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. When the left does something and they say, "Oh, I was just joking," that seems to be the end of it. When a conservative does something and say is joking, they never hear the end of it.
Nope, they're a racist or a bigot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right. Exactly. So we'll be talking about that this morning, and also what the hell's going on in Russia. We're not sure at this point.
Yeah,
but then again, nobody else is either.
I'm like, I just don't believe anything. I think everything is pretty much propaganda, and hopefully I don't know, Bill. I'm just worried about them sending our own troops over there. We already know they're on the ground, even though they've been lying about it.
Wow. So. Mm-hmm. And Savannah Chatham County Public Schools holding another one of those hearings or meetings rather to let you know how they're going to be spending your money since their budget is up $100 million over last year. And they said, well, we really, cost of things have gone up for us too.
Yeah, well, and I think there's less kids going to school, which I don't really understand, Bill. I think the amount of money that they're using, I mean, they need to basically get rid of everyone at Bull Street, I think.
Yeah, that's we could start there. Yeah. And pare it down from there. But they're still, and this is one of the things that I said at the meeting that I went to, and said, you're talking about hiring interpreters. Stop it. These people can learn English, okay? And it won't take them long if they have to learn it.
Well, I think that people don't understand that we have to have some sort of common ground with people. Otherwise,
there has to be a common denominator, yeah.
How do we discuss things? They need to be able to work jobs. I mean, I think that's when you start to get into these more tribal situations where, this is like the Hispanic speaking part of town. That's the Hispanic speaking school. So we're starting to divide each other up. And really, we were supposed to be a melting pot, and we can't really do that if people don't want to be an American.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they always talk about the people who came through with Ellis Island, and said, and they're trying to compare that to the people coming through in Mexico now. Said no, those people came here to be Americans. All right,
and they were also everything behind.
Yeah, they also had sponsors for the most part. Somebody here already who was sponsoring them, so they had a place to go, they had a place to stay, and they had maybe a job. There wasn't any minimum wage in those days. There wasn't any Social Security. There wasn't any of this welfare programs, any kind of these hammocks to help people out. It's supposed to be a safety net that are now turned into hammocks. No. They had to go find a job somewhere, and they had to go find a place to live. And it might have been in a pretty rundown area. But they wanted to be Americans. They learned English. When they sent their kids to the nearest neighborhood public school, they learned English. There wasn't anybody that lawyers didn't come along and say, oh, no, you've got to teach them in Polish. Or you've got to teach them in Swedish. They learned the language. When I was a fourth grader at Jacob G. Smith Elementary School here, I've told this story before, so, but if I'm repeating myself, so what? But this kid came in from South America, could say, please, thank you, can I go to the bathroom? Within about 2 or 3 weeks, he was talking with us, and was doing. And by the end of the school year, he had pretty much mastered the English language. Same way when I was in the 5th grade, we sponsored. We were part of a group that had sponsored a Finnish exchange student. This girl came in here from Finland. When she got off the train in August, about the same thing. Please and thank you. And can I have a ham sandwich or something like that? Yeah. But by the time she left here, she was teaching me English. She stayed with us for 3 months, and a great girl, graduated from Groves High School, and as part of the exchange program, and she was terrific, and her English was darn near flawless at that point. because you immerse yourself in English. And something that she said, Brittany, that I'd never thought about when because I was a monolingual person at the time, and she said I knew I had conquered English when I started thinking in English,
Oh,
and I was like,
interesting.
wow, I never even thought of that. Because my stepfather always used to say, for a multilingual person, what language do they think in? And I said, well,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
It's a great question.
Yeah, it is.
Great question.
So, but so what? There's part of the budget, and I went through Jenkins High School the other day, and we're building we're building
Compounds.
multi-million dollar mansions for these kids, and the story, if you're going to build them a nice little mansion, I think they should go to school in a nice place. But I want to see some results. And I was
Bottom line.
walking around Jenkins High School. Heck, I thought it was at the Taj Mahal. In fact, the Taj Mahal might not be as nice.
Well, not only that, Bill, I mean, they're also getting East Plus money. And I think that
Hmm.
that's where the building money comes
It
from. So
does.
that
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
even
what.
touch a lot of our tax money. So
Hmm.
for me, it's really frustrating. I don't really, and for them, they just think, well, we're getting more money. Let's just continue to spend it instead of rolling back the millage rate, which they should be doing. Savannah City did the same thing. They're not rolling back the millage rate either. So, I mean, we just get to pay more taxes.
Yeah. Well, there was a small group of property owners that joined board members last night to let the board know that they are upset about the possible tax increases facing their community. A fellow named Glenn Wood was one of the only people in the crowd. He says that the increases are putting some people in his community at risk of losing their homes. So this is and this doesn't seem to concern government. So that they're like, well, so what? Well, good. We'll have more homeless people. We like homeless people. Government seems to like homeless people. So he says, I can tell you about the minorities and lower income people and the middle income people who are being taxed out of their property. And he says, everyone talks about, well, one day it'll happen, but he says it's happening today.
Yep. Yep. Well, you have a lot of people on fixed income. I mean, these older people that have probably been in these houses for, 20, 30, 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, and this includes, people in the Black community, the white community,
Mhm.
Hispanic community, everyone's impacted by this. So, but they don't care. They don't care. But I think that we should be able to opt out. At a certain point, we have to be able to hold them accountable to the tax money. It's getting ridiculous. We have some other stories to go through maybe later this week, but one of them is actually going to be the voting rolls, the Dominion machines, the cost of the Dominion machines to upkeep,
Mhm.
and the fact that we know that there was a report released last week, and Brad Raffensperger acknowledged that there were issues with these machines, but he's not going to fix those until 2025. That's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
So what are the problems? Supposed to be there was a board of registrars meeting tomorrow. We were going to encourage you to go to at noon, but don't save your gas.
Yeah, it's going to be online. I know that there's been an uproar, so I don't know if they heard that there was going to be a lot of people show up, and so they moved it to an online meeting, but definitely there's a lot of people upset. There will be a Board of Elections meeting on July 10th at 3:30. They handle the machines and the elections, and the Board of Registrars handles the voter rolls, which is like the new system that they implemented, which is Jarvis, and the system called Connect, which handles all of the poll worker, poll watcher information, which, if you remember, was reported that a lot of that information was being stored on a server in China. We have some huge issues here, Bill. Huge issues. Secretary of State is not dealing with them. I think this is absolutely negligence, and how they are not doing what they need to do for the voter or the taxpayer, and they've wasted a ton of money on these machines that are significantly vulnerable, and it's been proven time and time again.
Yeah, well, it goes back to the lady who said that she was working in that voter registry or the voting poll up around Atlanta in the 2020 election, and she said that they set up the machines the night before, came in the next morning, and it's like 12 degrees in there. I mean, she thought she was stepping into the North Pole, and these machines are temperature sensitive. They need to be operating at what we call, standard room temperature, in the between 65 and like 90 degrees or something
Hmm.
like that. And this place is like a refrigerator, and they're doing all sorts of things. They're looking at the air conditioning. They call the HVAC people. Finally, around lunchtime, the HVAC people came in and said, "There's nothing wrong with your HVAC system. Somebody's turned off the gas." Now that had to be deliberate. Now she
Oh,
signed an
yes.
affidavit to this effect, which means that she could be going to jail for perjury if this was not the truth. This was not the case, and that had to be done deliberately. And just like this so-called flood that happened, the water main or something that broke at the other. How convenient! Broke the day of the election in Atlanta,
Hmm.
and it turned out it was just somebody that had stuffed toilet paper into the rolls of toilet paper into the toilet, and caused a problem there. And then they evacuated the whole darn building, so they had to stop the voting. I have never been in an election or remember an election where we stopped the voting at 9:30 when one guy was ahead, restarted the voting at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the other guy was ahead by 300,000 votes. But it happened in several key locations. But sure, nothing to see here. This was the most honorable and most integrity of this election had the most integrity in history. You heard every Democratan say that, and that's when you knew that they had the Saul Alinsky talking points.
So, how do you feel about the machines, Bill?
I don't think we should have ever gotten them in the first place. Texas turned them down. They went with another company. But when they started talking about this computer voting back around 2002, or I said I was against. I said that when it was the first start of my radio show, and my co-host Brian Mudd said, "Well, why are you against this?" I said, "There are too many things that could be manipulated. I'm sorry, I don't trust it. What's wrong with the system that we have? Don't fix what ain't broke."
Well, these machines can be manipulated at a level that you would not believe. If you've not read the Haldeman report, I highly suggest that you do. It is 96 pages, but the first five are pretty mind blowing. So it'll give you a good idea just going through the first five
Well,
pages.
yeah, our good friend Lisa Freeman, Gold Star mom from Richmond Hill, who's gone from the penthouse to the outhouse in her community because she tells the truth. And she said she was there. She saw the voting machines being manipulated, guys coming in and switching out cards or some kind of doing some sort of manipulation to them. And again, she could go to prison if this were actually the case, and she was telling a lie.
Well, that's the thing, Bill. You can insert a card and it can literally corrupt that machine, but then it can start to spread through the network. So then it's the whole
Hmm.
precinct, then
Yeah.
it starts to go through the whole county. So it is kind of I don't know why we decided that this was a good idea, but there are ways that we can do this. I was at a conference this weekend and we saw how paper counting could work. And it's actually
Hmm.
pretty incredible how quickly we could get that done. So I'm all for hand marked paper ballots. I think that that's the most secure way to go about it. I know people don't like doing that, but they do it in Italy, and I thought that we liked Europe. So
Yeah,
just saying.
yeah. I thought, and I remember Ron DeSantis was talking about how quickly they got things done. By 9:30 in Florida, we knew who had done what.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Going to hear from one of Putin's former lieutenants talking about what's going on in Russia, and it doesn't sound good. That's next. Stay. At Get Real America, we are focused on Savannah, but we'd like to hear from other communities as well. We have a lot in common.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, And mouth-watering banana pudding? Say it's the best in the world? And you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
And they're trying to get real over there in Russia or something.
They're trying to do something. I'm very skeptical of anything I hear out of Russia or anything related to Russia, just because we've heard so many things, and I just don't believe anything that's going on, especially when it comes to Ukraine, because of how corrupt it's been. So
we've heard about this Wagner group over the weekend that was trying to pull a coup of some sort. They said it wasn't an attack on Putin or anything else. They just were worried that their division was going to be disassembled or something. But Russia has dropped the charges against this guy and other participants in the Wagner Group rebellion, so they say. But what is going over there? Laura Ingraham on the Ingraham Angle on the Fox News channel last night interviewed one of Putin's former lieutenants who now is on our side.
Now, after the events of this past weekend, we still have a lot of questions. Key among them, what exactly happened in Russia, and who's the real beneficiary of what happened? The Wall Street Journal is reporting that after Wagner's mutiny showed the unexpected fragility of Putin's regime, all the main players in Russia's worst political crisis in decades stayed out of sight, leaving Russians and the world to wonder whether the drama was really over. Now, despite all the unanswered questions, the Biden State Department is viewing the events as somewhat of a victory.
With respect to the activities over the weekend, obviously they were a significant step. It is certainly a new thing to see President Putin's leadership directly challenged. It is a new thing to see Yevgeny Prigozhin directly questioning the rationale for this war and calling out that the war has been conducted essentially based on a lie, which is something that we have said previously, but we certainly have not seen coming from Russian officials previously. Those are all significant steps.
Joining me now is Andrei Illarionov, former senior policy advisor to Vladimir Putin and current senior fellow at the Center for Security Policy in the United States. Andrei, now given your unique perspective, what do you think the mood in Moscow is tonight after what happened?
Fear. So the main mood for the first 24 hours was fear. On Putin's side, on Putin's entourage, and even based on Putin's latest announcement that he had made a few hours ago, it's very clearly he's still very much frightened. He's very much frightened by all these events, certainly by this so-called rebellion or mutiny by Prigozhin, but probably even more by the speed with which Prigozhin columns moved to Moscow. Almost 800 kilometers with 24 hours is probably the best, or at least the most impressive special military operation in the history of Russian forces over the last 3 decades, and by probably betrayal by many people from his entourage.
Now, I have to ask you a question about that, because one would think that Putin has a very tight lid on the people around him. He has a food tester. He has, you know that. You were in his presence. So doesn't he have that locked down? The closest aides are always going to protect him, and that circle goes out.
But it looks like many of them became silent, and they were silent for all this time of crisis. Some of them disappeared. Some of them...
The cabinet ministers, the Duma?
Yes, and some of them actually left Moscow. And what is absolutely unthinkable in the history of Russia, Putin himself called for help to whom? Leaders of Belarus, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkey. This is the first time in the history of Russia that leader of Turkey, Mr. Erdogan, has suggested mediation services to Putin to solve internal Russian political crisis. Never before. Never in history of Moscow Principality or Russian Tsardom or Russian Empire or the Soviet Union or Russian Federation that the leaders of Turkey would
offer such services to the
showing weakness
Russian
on the part
leaders.
of Putin.
That's definitely, this is a very substantial public humiliation. This is a very strong blow to the public image of Mr. Putin.
Well, what does this say about the Ukraine situation as it stands now? Because we understand from some reporting, whether it's accurate or not, we don't know how accurate any of this reporting is. Just showing Ukrainian military videos is not necessarily telling us what's happening. They've mined a lot of the townships, we know that, and they still have quite a few forces in place. Is there real progress being made by Ukraine? Some say yes, some say it's not so fast.
Yeah, you know what is the most shocking or probably even scandalous in the whole story? That the report by David Ignatius from the Washington Post a couple of days ago, that he said publicly on the pages of this paper that White House told him that they told Ukrainians not to exploit this possibility of the crisis in Russia and not to attack Russian forces.
So I thought we wanted to.
That is why when you are showing this kind of victory on the part of the State Department, maybe that they have in mind, that they actually sideline it with Putin against Ukrainians, because Biden's, once again, the Biden administrations told Ukrainians not to explode this weakness of Putin's regime.
Well, maybe they don't want to create a bigger crisis with destabilizing Russia. That might not be a great outcome
this is the only
for
way.
Certain people.
No, but this is yes, that's exactly. And the question would be, who's ally of the Biden administration in this war?
Who's running it? Who's really running it?
There's a lot of questions concerning what is the interest of the current administrations in this war, because we know that both are criminals. I mean, Prigozhin and Putin.
They're both thugs.
Exactly.
All right, we got to run, but Andre, come back.
If there was ever a time for Ukrainians to take advantage of the situation, this would have been it. And they sat on their hands. I thought you fought wars to win, and Russian authorities now have announced today that a criminal investigation into the armed rebellion led by the Wagner Group and Yevgeny Prigozhin has been closed with no charges filed against anybody involved. Well, we'll just see.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what to believe, so I just feel like I can't comment because I just don't think that there's a lot of truth going on. So Ukraine's super corrupt. Their president is making way too much money off the U.S. for me to really side with Ukraine either. So that's where I'm at.
And the things that he said about Biden himself were chilling.
But not surprising.
No.
I mean,
no, not really.
We didn't get a chance to look at that video, but I think we should look at the video of Biden literally saying that he sold secrets.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
I was just thinking, anyway, I started off without you. And I sold a lot of state secrets and a lot of very important things that we shared.
What in God's name is he talking about?
Don't know, but I'm sure that there's a lot of things that we don't know about, a lot of things that I think he's been selling us out for years. I don't think this is a new thing. I think that being honest is new. But
Well,
it could be the dementia kicking in.
That's what happens, when the brain, because his brain is broken. I loved him putting his hand over his heart when they were playing the India's national anthem the other day, and when he realized it wasn't ours, he had that slow motion thing of the hand moving on down. Like, no, okay, nobody saw that, right?
Well, he probably had someone in the front row telling him, like,
yeah,
don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have him on camera. Like, here's your ex. Here's your, people are directing him constantly.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they've allowed him to stay in that seat, and
this is elder abuse. But the worst part of it is the rest of us have to pay for it, and is this country going to have to pay for it? In things that we don't. We
are paying for it.
We are. I know. But the worst part is how this country is being dismantled, and now you've got the Chinese that are trying to surround us with opening up these bases in Cuba. Now, remember, we did President Kennedy wouldn't stand for that. He'd already had a big embarrassment in the Bay of Pigs situation, in which he was giving very bad advice on a terrible, that was the Star-Spangled Boner, if there ever was one. And he decided he wasn't gonna put up with it this time, and started the blockade. Great story that books that were written on it, and also a television movie called The Missiles of October, and telling Khrushchev and all, and Khrushchev finally backed down, and they took the missiles out. Are we going to do that this time? I heard Anthony Winkin, Blinken, and Stinkin over the weekend saying, when he was asked directly, Chuck Todd actually stumbled across a real question. So even stopped clocks right twice a day. He said, are we going to stop the Chinese from building military bases in Cuba? And he said, well, we're looking into this. There wasn't a no in that, in any of his statements about what we are doing about this.
Well, there was also another spy balloon in Montana yesterday, and one of the congressmen called Washington, D.C. about it, and they're like, yeah, we're aware of it. It's not big enough for us to, or it's too big for us to do anything with right now.
Too big for us to do anything right now?
Yeah, they were apparently not worried about it. Our friend Mary's with us this morning, and she said it looks like another psyop. You and I are on the same page, Mary, and she said, what, question mark? I heard the Chinese are in Canada too, and Chinese nationals are also invading the southern border. They have had more Chinese come across the border than ever. So
I wonder what for.
Well, and that story's really cooled off. I'm not seeing anyone cover the border right now. We have so much going on, and
well, that's the whole Cloward and Piven philosophy from back in the 60s at Columbia University, when they said one of the things, and they're working with Saul Alinsky on the rules for radicals and everything else on how to destroy America or how to destroy any civilization like this, is that overwhelm the system. You have so many things going on at once, you don't know where to look.
Well, that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Exactly.
There was a guy out of New York. He is very upset about what's happening there.
Yeah, boy.
And
the environmentalists strike again.
Well, and here's the thing: like, what sense does it make to get rid of the brick ovens?
He wants so we got a pizza guy from New York who's saying that we're not going to do this anymore. This is getting ridiculous. He's not going to be able to make his pizza because they're going to ban brick ovens now.
Yes, and I just want to warn everyone about the content. There are some choice words in here, and he does have a little bit of a potty mouth. But in his defense, I don't blame him. I think that they're destroying everything they can in New York. And if people can't leave, they've built their life there. They have certain situations they can't leave. What are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
The woke-ass idiots who run this city are doing everything in their power to destroy it. We have naked men with their titties bouncing around all over the city yesterday, in public, in front of children. We have the most violent, raging crime rate ever. We are being invaded by illegal immigrants who are being treated way better than our homeless veterans, our teachers, and first responder heroes who were fired, still not compensated, because they didn't take the Fauci injection. Our city schools produce the dumbest kids, and the woke-ass punks who run New York City are afraid of pizza. The world used to respect New Yorkers as tough, thick-skinned, and gritty. Now we have become pussified. It's a damn shame. You heard of the Boston Tea Party? Well, this is the New York, this is the New York Pizza Party. Give us pizza or give us death. 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 Destroying every small business. That's what this city keeps doing. Can't have a small business? Can't have pizza? New York City is nothing without pizza. The Boston Tea Party, this is the New York Pizza Party. Gotta do my thing, man.
Wish I'd been there with a catcher's mitt or something, or a net.
I was going to say, you love New York pizza, don't you?
Oh yeah, pizza. Period. Yeah, it's hard to make a bad pizza. Some people manage, but it's hard to do it.
Well, I will say, being in New York, I can imagine. Like, I'm frustrated, and I live in the great state of Georgia. Mary McCann says, God bless him. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine being in their shoes. What they're dealing with is on a level that I can't imagine. I won't even go to New York because of it. I have no interest with the crime rate and just kind of what the city's turned into. But,
I'd love to see that 9/11 memorial. I'm dying to go to the Bronx Zoo from just watching that on Animal Planet. But I ain't going right now. But and it's a shame because it was once the world's greatest city. All right, coming up next.
It doesn't end. They're not going to stop, and we shouldn't either. So when we
Satan
get back,
never sleeps.
No, it doesn't. Drew, I didn't think this was supposed to be a serious show.
At Get Real America, we want to make sure that the real story gets out, and you can help us as a sponsor or as an advertiser to make sure that word does get out to the community.
Be a sponsor and support your local community here at Get Real America.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like,
rather than my skills.
I want to be judged
by my political beliefs. I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes.
When I grow up,
I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long.
When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
Just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist.
I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Come join us today at Sweet Potato's Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Tuesday. Here it is, a week from Independence Day.
Yes, and I hope you guys have some fun plans with your family. It's the best time to do that. And also you teach them what 4th of July is actually about.
Just once again, your homework assignment, because we'd like to hear from you, and you can send it to us on email, or you can send us a video or talk to us. And that is, ask your kids or your grandkids what July the 4th is for. Stop some kid on the street. Just ask them. We'd like to hear their response.
Yes, Bill. And there's a lot of responding that we're hearing now from a lot of parents. I mean, I think we've seen this with the Bud Light fiasco. Disney lost a ton of money at the box office with their newest film, which I think had a non-binary something in it. I don't know. I don't follow Disney anymore. And they also...
Walt is rolling over in his grave.
Well, and for the new series of Star Wars that they're doing, they just hired their first transgender actor. So very exciting stuff going on at Disney.
Send up a flare. Yes.
Well, and you know, Bill, it's been Pride Month, and oh my goodness, this has been one of the worst Pride months I think we've ever had. I never had an issue with it, but I think that they've just gone too far. People are literally naked. Out in the streets doing whatever in front of children. I think it's wrong. I don't think it's okay. I think that this is...
There's no thinking about it being wrong. It is.
Yeah, and now they're not even hiding what they're doing.
No.
They are literally saying, we're coming for your children.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
This is weird.
I think we ought to start organizing like this and say, we're straight, we're great, and we're getting you on that mission to Mars.
It doesn't rhyme enough.
That's the best I can come up with on the spur of the moment.
It was on the fly. I'm sure we could get something going.
Yeah.
You know, I think that we should really just take a note from Italy.
By the way, that didn't rhyme either. We're coming for your children. That didn't rhyme with anything.
That's
we're
true.
here, we're queer. That's the only two things that rhyme. I said we're straight,
true.
we're great. So, you know, we're on the same page anyway.
You're even.
Okay, thanks.
I don't know if you want to be even with them, but
no.
I digress. But I do think that we should take a note from Italy, and we should have a Pride Month, but it should be family pride. We should celebrate what being a good American is. We should American exceptionalism. There's so much to celebrate that could be uniting instead of dividing. This has turned into something it was never supposed to be, and I think it's just gotten way out of hand.
Well, their purpose is to divide.
Yeah.
Divide, the old divide and conquer type thing. And it goes back to biblical terms that, you know, that the triple braided cord cannot be broken. That the guy, the father that took the 3 sticks and broke them apart, and said, but he then he took 3 more and he put them all together. And he said, now try to break it. So it's not a new concept.
No, but we seem to not learn any lessons.
That's apparently not. Well, when you have that evil book, the Bible, and you got to get that out of the schools.
I know, but it's corrupting the children. Really,
this is all part of a systematic plan to destroy America and to destroy a society. The communist main goal that has always been their mantra is that find out what makes a society great and ridicule it. And that's exactly what they're doing. When we talk about marriage, when we talk about there was just a believe it's at St. Philip's College in Texas. I believe that's where it is. They were talking about this on Fox and Friends this morning. A biology professor, who's been teaching there for over 20 years, has been suspended or fired from the school. He's demanding to get his job back, but he's been fired because he was teaching in the classroom that X and Y chromosomes, make a guy to
a male or a female.
A male or a female. It said, and 4 students stormed out.
Oh my gosh!
And went to the administration, and he's lost his job for teaching biology. Are these science deniers?
They sure are.
Must be.
It's getting out of hand, Bill. And Mary brings up a good point. Pride is one of the 7 deadly sins.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably no coincidence there. But the other thing is, the thing that the Biden administration is really great at is making a mockery of everything.
Exactly.
So we have this, I think she's the head of human health in the United States, this admiral that says that he is a she, but she is not a she.
Is the assistant secretary of
Yes.
being an idiot.
Yes. So this is her message about pride.
Hello, my name is Admiral Rachel Levine, and I have the honor of being the Assistant Secretary for Health at the United States Department of Health and Human Services. Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride. Happy Summer of Pride.
Please, I've been waiting for the end of June because I just want it to go away.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it won't.
Yeah.
Because they'll have Pride Year.
It's looking that way. I mean, they don't seem to be calming down. I think it's getting worse. Mary also says pride is inwardly focused and self-elevating. It lacks humility. You're absolutely right. I think that one of the big things that's wrong societally, not even just with the pride movement, but with younger children, and just they're very entitled. They've not had to go through a lot of hard things, and we're headed towards some pretty hard times. And I think that that's really going to change the tune of a lot of people. And there may be a lot of people that aren't able to handle what's about to come.
Yeah. The thing is that they keep harping on this, and this is Military Pride Month too, but we haven't heard too much about that. But when they keep telling us that it goes back to the original civil rights movement. They had good arguments, but all of a sudden, when all of those things started being granted, and they were given the equal opportunity and equal rights, suddenly they were asking for special privileges, just like, and it continues to this day. When you see that when we advertise for a job opening, what's the last thing that they say in there? Women and minorities encouraged to apply.
Mm-hmm.
So so it's discrimination in reverse. They don't want to talk about that. They're asking for not equal rights, because when you've had equal opportunity, you've had equal opportunity. But if you were asking for special privileges, I can remember applying for a sportscaster's job in Charlotte and in Birmingham. Both the people that they hired that they eventually hired were black, and I was sent a nice note that you were kind of our second choice. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
We got the Confederate Memorial in Forsyth Park. We got that for coming in second in the Civil War. But they said, but both of the people that they hired were black. Found out later that from management
that was a
talking
requirement.
that they said that their next hire in that department had to be a black person. Had to. Remember when, and this goes back to when I was in college, and believe me, that's been a while. When WHVQ in Memphis, a friend of mine that worked there, they needed engineers, and so they got great qualification. They got a bevy of great qualified people, none of them black, so they couldn't hire any of them. They had to wait till they finally got an application from a qualified black guy.
Yeah, I think
that's discrimination, big time.
Well, and I think we've also just lessened the requirements for things in order to make things accessible to people, which we should champion greatness. And I think we've gotten away from that. Really quick before we head to break, Lizzie says it is getting worse under Biden. Everything is worse.
Yeah.
And then Mary says, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And we've seen that happen. Mm-hmm. And then Lizzie Warren says, my husband and sister both lost jobs and explicitly told because they were white. Yeah. I mean, and they don't even care anymore.
No.
It's not even offensive. We're not allowed to be offended.
You got no chance in court or anything else that you're talking about. But I think now you give them an inch, they take a light year.
Yes. Well,
all right.
We got to go to break, but when we get back, we're going to have an update on the James O'Keefe story. for the FAC filing that seems a little odd.
Yeah, let's hear about this. Coming up.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance, with integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Come join us today at Sweet Potatoes Kitchen for some of that good Southern home cooking, like fried chicken, fish, and mouth-watering banana pudding. Say it's the best in the world, and you won't get an argument from me. Also, those vegetables are fresh and delicious. Voted Southside's best restaurant in Savannah at least 5 times, and large corporate parties are welcome. Tell them Bill Edwards sent you. Drop by and eat today. Everybody loves sweet potatoes.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard here this morning on this Tuesday as we head down the home stretch here.
Yes, and a few months ago, we shared the story with you that James O'Keefe reported on. And for those of you that don't know James O'Keefe, he is the master of hidden cameras at the moment. Something they used to do back in the day, and he's bringing it back.
Yeah, boy, the networks just love this hidden camera investigation, and the government just loved this hidden camera investigation until, of course, they found out it was a double-edged sword.
Yes, and they actually did a deep dive investigation into people contributing to the Democrat Party.
Mhm.
And turns out these elderly people that were on a fixed income were donating quite a bit of money. And
Yeah.
so they're trying to figure out how this happened.
Yeah, it's amazing how this happened.
Hello everyone, James O'Keefe here. We have an update into the FEC investigation into money apparently laundered from various addresses through Act Blue. Election Watch will be filing a complaint with the FEC in D.C. over the discrepancies and apparent fraud that has taken place with all these donations, many of which are done through the home addresses of the elderly. Election Watch will file the complaint with the FEC, wait the required 120 days, and then file a lawsuit in the Northern District of Virginia. Now, included in that lawsuit will be evidence that over 60% of the money involved in this is apparently coming from China. Act Blue is feeding a lot of money to other PACs like Emily's List, Color of Change PAC, just to name a few. Much of this information, through Election Watch, came from internet tracing, internet traffic patterns, looking at where the transactions are coming from and where they're going to. Based upon these traffic flow patterns, you can actually see what's happening. There's also receipts of large amount of monies on the FEC website to financial processors like Amalgamated Bank, particularly the Washington, D.C. branch of Amalgamated Bank, one of the institutions making many of these transactions. Dibby is also named. They're a debit card processor out of Utah. There's large amounts of money going through that. Much of this will be included in the lawsuit. But many questions remain unanswered. We hope that this army of citizen journalists watching through OMG will find those answers. Stay tuned.
Well, that's his new organization because his other one was taken away from him.
Yes, but he definitely, the OMG, it fits for him.
Mm-hmm.
So
It does.
O'Keefe Media Group, which OMG.
Yeah.
But he's done a lot of work on a lot of stories. He broke the BlackRock story last week, and this FEC story, I think it's really big because we hear we heard Russia for what, 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And turns out there's a lot of Chinese money coming in here through a lot of these organizations and different things. So who's interfering now? And Mary Hybrider brings up a fantastic point this morning. Isn't it an act of war when a foreign nation interferes with our elections?
Only if it helps the Republicans.
Right, or only also if Biden is taking Biden is taking paycheck from China, so I'm sure that he benefited greatly from a lot of these
taking paychecks from Ukraine, taking paychecks from Russia, taking paychecks. Just go down the list.
I was going to say, probably anywhere him and Hunter Biden took a flight to, I'm sure that there was a check involved.
Yeah,
so.
there's and I think that's called multiple income streams.
Oh, is that how you do it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I'm going to have to work on that.
Yeah, that's how you secure your finances. You have those multiple income streams.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they tell you when we talked to Travis Chance the day after tomorrow, CFG Wealth Management. But he said you never just put all your eggs in one basket. You don't just put money in one stock and just hope it's going to do well for you. So you go into multiple stocks. And so one's not doing well, one is, so on and so forth. So you pretty much stay balanced. But that's the way it's supposed to work. These guys have figured out a different system.
Yes, and Mary says the Bidens are traitors. You're absolutely right. And
they are.
They should be charged with treason, what they've done to our country. And, I'm all about bringing back some duels. Like, let's just do some of those.
I challenge you to a duel.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Didn't work out well for Alexander Hamilton, though.
You know what? But I don't think it would work out well for Biden. But I don't understand what we're doing, Bill. Like, there is clear evidence. They don't hide anything. They know, everyone knows that he's corrupt and that he sold us out.
What gets me is that when you hear the media people, or you hear the people that are in the in entertainment or whatever, they say there's no evidence of this. They keep talking about no evidence. When you've got the women on the pew, the View, keep on saying it, because if you watch that, of course, your IQ is going to go down considerably. But they keep saying that, oh, but Biden loves his son, and there's nothing wrong with loving his son, and you have to, and you want to
No.
keep
They really sell it.
Yeah.
It's the story of a father loving
his son. Yes,
It's
the
so
story.
just beautiful. I thought the lady
yes.
was going to cry yesterday. I was like, what?
Mhm.
What are we doing?
Mhm.
Please take the. I think that they're going off air, aren't they?
So no, it couldn't be a minute too soon.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's at Camp David over the weekend, I wish I had all these indictments against me so that I could live the life of Riley. I could spend weeks at Kiowa up in Charleston. I could go to Ireland. I could go to these big parties at Camp
He
David.
lives in a beach house in California.
Mm-hmm. And you go to parties with Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, who just gave you the deal of a lifetime.
The sweetheart deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But no one's above the law, Bill.
Unless of course you're a Republican. So it must be great to be a Democrat.
It must be.
And the fact that they keep saying it once again, going over and over again. When Riley Gaines was in front of Congress again last week, and Dick Durbin, the senator and cretin from Illinois, is lecturing her about how because she said that she was so embarrassed about being in a locker room with a guy, and Laura Ingraham talked to an NC State champion swimmer who at the NCAA championships went and changed in a janitor's closet because she was so upset about Leah Thomas being in there with her.
I couldn't do it.
No, and she said, and she's changing in a janitor's closet, and she's got multiple NCAA titles and championships, and she lost out to this guy, and she said the NCAA didn't tell us at any point that this guy was going to be there. They didn't say he was going to be using our locker room facilities. This just came out of the blue for them, and Durbin is trying to take this girl to the woodshed. Trying to take Riley to the woodshed. And Riley's up there saying, as old as my father is, he could still kick my butt without even trying. It is a biological fact of life. And Durbin is trying to tell her, oh, there's so many of these people that are these transgender people who are committing suicide, and how depressed they are, and how we should. And she said, what about our feelings?
You're a woman. You no longer matter. We've moved on from you. We got what we needed out of your movement, and now we've moved on.
Exactly.
That's where they're at with it. Really quick, we have a couple of comments. Mary Highbreeder says it's the love of money. And Lizzie Warren says Ted Bundy's mother loved her son too, but she didn't excuse his crimes, I bet.
Yeah, I bet.
And loving a child means holding them accountable. Absolutely. I think that children do need some boundaries and some accountability. Otherwise, you might get a child like Hunter Biden. Who does whatever he wants, whenever he wants, with no accountability. But he does sell some excellent art pieces for lots of money. And he's a professional money launderer, I believe, is what his job title should be. But
yeah, but we still haven't been able to find out who's buying this art. I mean, paintings that are selling more than Picasso's
in there.
Yeah, paintings that are selling for more money than Picasso's. You just have to ask the question, because I've seen some of his art, and frankly, I don't see the talent. Just to let you know.
Yes.
But there's a lot of artwork I see around here that I don't see the talent.
Yes, but tell them about the photo that you shared with me yesterday. I thought that was the coolest piece of art. I had never seen anything like it before.
Downtown, my wife and I went to City Market just to pal around for the weekend, and we walked into one of the art galleries there, and there was this huge piece of art on the wall that looked like somebody, and apparently had found a great use to recycle their old Christmas ornaments. And it was just, and when you saw it, the red, orange, green, all the different colors of ornaments. And it just looked like a great big rectangular picture of ornaments. And there was a little note next to it that said, "Take a picture of this with your cell phone. Trust me." And I said, "Okay." Took a picture on the cell phone, and you could clearly see. You couldn't see. You could bend to see if you really concentrated on the piece itself. But if you looked at it on the cell phone, it was a picture of Elvis.
It was really cool.
It really was.
I was
now
really
that to me is
impressed.
art.
Yes.
Something
yes.
that I can't do.
Yes.
Is art.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I love it. Well, that's going to wrap us for today. But thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. Remember to download our app, The Local Spin. Catch us on Facebook, Vimeo, YouTube, Rumble. You can also catch us on Apple or Spotify.
Remember, you can't spell Democrat without RAT.